co-host, so maybe that gives you that. There we are, fantastic. Welcome, Coral Gables Toastmasters, and most welcome to our distinguished guests that are joining us tonight. This is the first meeting of 2022, as Mario had mentioned, and I am very excited about what we have to look forward to this year. We have two contests that are coming up. We have the International Speech Contest and the Table Topics Contest just happening in our next meeting, January 26th, Wednesday, same time, 7 o'clock p.m. For our members, if you are interested in signing up for Table Topics, and I say Table Topics first because that one has no prerequisites to it. You simply have to be a member and you can participate in that contest. It's a lot of fun because you are asked a random question that you don't know ahead of time, and you have to give your best coherent response in 1 to 2 minutes. I think it's a great way to grow as a Toastmaster. Now, for the International Speech Contest, that one requires a little bit more from our members. I believe they need to have given 6 speeches. Brian, you can correct me in the chat if I'm mistaken. But in any case, it does require a little bit more experience in the Toastmasters educational program in order to participate for that. What is pretty fantastic about the International Speech Contest is that every public speaking champion, world champion of public speaking, started their journey off at a club contest, winning their club contest, and advancing all the way through to the world championships of public speaking. And I certainly am hoping that at some point when they do host it, it will be in person, because the last one before COVID was happening in Paris, France. And I was really considering booking a ticket just to go there because, number one, it would have been my first time going to Paris. Number two, it's a Toastmasters thing. So I think of it as money well spent. But in any case, moving on from that, I'd like to give an opportunity for the guests joining us to give a brief introduction about themselves and what they're hoping to get from this meeting and Toastmasters in general. I'd like to first welcome our distinguished guest, which is the Area 54 Director, Gina. Please unmute and give us a brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Lucas. It is always a pleasure visiting Coral Gables. You guys are a good group. Looking forward to the meeting. I just wanted to do a brief shout out. I don't know if you all, he was recognized, but your shooting star in the club, Mario Latano, he actually got an award. I have a pen and I need to get it to him, but he should be congratulated as a new member and coming in, running, becoming a club officer. So I just wanted to make that little announcement. Mario, you and I will discuss the best way for me to get your pen. That's it.
Shall we toast to Mario Latano, shooting star?
Okay, let's do that. I got my sparkling water. All right, thank you, Felicity, for leading the toast. And once again, congratulations, Mario, for really supporting our club and having a great impact in our club, and of course, being the shooting star for our club. And thank you, Gina, for recognizing Mario. Next, let's see who's on my screen here. Let's hear from Forrest. Please unmute, give a brief introduction.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me attend tonight. I'm excited to be here. I'm a second-year PhD student at FIU, originally from the Netherlands. I found Toastmaster International online, and well, I mean, it's always good to search for opportunities and for personal development. So I thought to attend tonight. I'm a non-member, so I'm just, let it all sink in and suck it up, and then let's see how it goes. And yeah, thanks for letting me join tonight.
You are absolutely welcome to, of course, joining us tonight, and we hope that you find the experience to be a beneficial one. And at the end, you consider if Toastmasters is the right avenue for you to improve your public speaking skills. Let's go to Art. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name's Art Cabrera. I'm a high school teacher, a basketball coach, and I was involved in Toastmasters going back to the early 90s in Hialeah. As a basketball coach, you have to do a little public speaking, and I was really bad at it. First began, and those people at Hialeah really helped me, and they were really nice people. So I'm looking, I'm looking back to get back into it, and I appreciate you guys for letting me join you tonight.
Thank you, Art, and you're joining us in a completely different format than I'm sure that anybody was used to in the 90s being in person, but we are certainly looking forward to at some point going back in person so that we can, and when we do go back, we would have improved our Zoom skills and our public speaking skills of this platform, and as well as continuing to improve our in-person skills. But once again, welcome back to a Toastmasters meeting. Let's hear from Jorge. Please unmute. Give us a brief introduction.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Jorge. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I work as a manager for a Fortune 500 company. What I want to learn here is basically develop my skills, my public speaking skills, learning from you guys, and just personal development in general. No, so thank you for having me here.
You are most welcome, and thank you for joining us. I hope this experience is beneficial for you. And this guest seemingly just joined just maybe about a minute ago, Estefania Duque. If possible, can you turn on your camera, unmute, and just give a brief introduction?
Yes, hi. I'm sorry there's a lot of background noise down here in the gym right now, so my talk run a bit late. But it's great to meet you all. I actually heard about this group from my uncle. He long ago said that this helped him a lot with public speaking. And currently I'm working at a marketing agency where I have to talk with a lot of clients, a lot of people. So yeah, that's why I joined.
Okay, thank you, and you're most welcome here at our meeting. Now, I have some good news for you. The good news is that I'm not going to be talking for the rest of the meeting, at least until later. I want to hand it off to our Toastmaster extraordinaire, the person that's going to be leading this meeting and introducing a lot of the folks that are going to support this meeting and the success of our time together here. Please give a warm virtual welcome to Toastmaster Felicity Tinney Wilson.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. It is a pleasure to be here this evening, our first Coral Gables Club meeting of the year. I'm excited to share with you the theme for this evening, which is a toast to a new year. It's fitting. It is perhaps one of the most common things that we do at the beginning of the year. And we have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to commemorate, and we've got a lot to recognize, starting with our guests. Thank you all for being here this evening. Toastmasters meetings, as you all have said, known, and pledged to learn from, is a place where we come to learn to be better public speakers. We've heard that time and time again. For the current club members, we've had a lot of opportunities to practice, to prepare our speeches, to speak on the fly, and most importantly, to learn from each other. But did you also know that Toastmasters is a place and a platform that teaches us how to deliver a perfect toast? Who knew, right? Last year, I believe, Lucas was the one who talked about how Toastmasters club experience helped him deliver a speech at one of his family functions. I thought that was amazing. I was like, what, really? but indeed it is true. I want to also share with you tonight that in order to give a toast, there are certain rules that goes with that. Who knew? As I was doing some research, I'm like wondering, wait, rules that goes with a toast? Whenever you're asked to give a toast or whenever you're inclined to give a toast, you get up, you speak, you sit down, and you're good. And while I was looking this up, there are a few things, there are a few tips that I would like you to take away tonight. One, if you're going to give a speech, or if you plan to give really good toasts in the future, number one, you must know the person and know the occasion. Number two, don't make it too long because nobody wants to sit here and listen to you go on and on and on. Make it short, make it sweet, be personal, put some emotion to it. Most importantly, there are a few other things that you must do. Watch carefully. You must stand, command attention. Do I have everyone's attention? Are you listening? I think so. And then you propose. Toastmasters and welcome guests. I'd like to propose a toast to our first meeting of the year 2022. Here's to all of you in 2022. And I'd also like to say, here's to our leader, Lucas Calafeld, who has demonstrated immense leadership and growth opportunity through his tireless work to engage the team members and make sure that this club is a success. So Gina, are you listening? We're gonna do great things in 2022. So here's to all of you in 2022. Please raise your glasses with me and take a sip. Thank you. And now, I would like to introduce our functionaries for the evening. Please welcome our timer. Actually, let's start with our timer tonight. Felix Jimenez. Felix has been an amazing club member and he is very colorful. Felix, take it away. Tell us what you do as a timer.
Greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will time the table topics speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using green, yellow, and red cards, which denote the time, the specific time remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to specific speech times. Icebreaker speeches should be between 4 to 6 minutes. Do we have an icebreaker speech tonight?
Yes, we do.
I believe we should.
That would be Daria.
Yes,
Okay, so at the icebreaker speech,
Awesome.
speaker will have at 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I will raise the red card. The other speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. The individual evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Felix. And now for our all counter, Brian DeSimone. Brian, you are flexible, you are patient. Thank you for being patient with me and for teaching me all that I know. Take it away, Brian. All counter.
Madam Toastmaster, Felicity Tinney Wilson, and my absolute pleasure and glad to see you back in the Toastmaster role to start us off this year. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. Tonight, I will be serving as your counter. My job as counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including ums, ers. On another note, I will be looking for speakers who repeat words or phrases such as I, or this means, and this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used those expressions, and that is the duties of the counter tonight. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Brian. And now for our grammarian, Dr. Jazz. It's always a pleasure to have you at our meeting. Listen, you have taught us time and again that it's okay to be weird and organic. Take it away, Jasmine, grammarian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listen carefully to their language usage. I'll take note on any misuses of the English language, as well as outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is druther, which is a noun meaning a person's preference in a matter. An example of the word is, if it were my druther, I would rather the last 2 years of pandemic not exist. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day as often and as abundant as possible. I will give the word of the day report and grammatical usage report when called upon during the meeting later on. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Amazing. Another example of how to do it at Coral Gables Toastmasters Club. And now for our vote counter. Listen, if you take nothing away from this meeting today, if you don't take away the tips of how to deliver a good toast, learn that at Toastmasters Coral Gables, we jump in and you'll see that we perform in various functions and we do an amazing job at it. Our vote counter for tonight is, I believe, Lucas Calafeld, our president. Take it away.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. As the vote counter, I'm going to be collecting your votes for the best speaker, best table topic speaker, and best evaluator. Voting ties to the timing, because if a speaker is under time or they are over time, they will be ineligible to be voted on for any of those 3 awards. So for our speakers, make sure that you pay attention to Felix and that you don't go over time and that you speak enough to meet the minimum time requirement. Towards the end, either I, the Toastmaster, will present the winners for each category. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
And then that concludes our functionary roles. And now we will kick off the next section of our meeting, which is our speaker number 1, Catherine Stewart. Catherine has been with Toastmasters longer than I have, and she has taught me to be calm and collected. Today, she will be speaking from Pathways Level 2, Presentation Mastery, Understanding Your Communication Style. The topic of her speech tonight is Ready, Set, Speak. And she will provide an overview of her communication style, as well as what she's learned about herself and interacting with others. Catherine.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. This is a quote attributed to Plato, and it really sums up my communication style, which is supportive. Supportive communicators are calm, steady, and active listeners. We prefer relaxed environments that are tension-free. We avoid conflict like it's the coronavirus. Being a supportive communicator is a blessing and a curse. For this assignment, I took a quiz, and I wasn't surprised at all when the results came in that I was a supportive communicator. I've been honing my supportive communication skills my entire life. I was the only child, so that means I didn't have any natural predators growing up. I didn't have to defend myself in sibling rivalries. I didn't have to vie with them for the attention of my parents. It was a quiet household, so there wasn't any reason for me to be extra loud. On top of that, my parents' divorce made me a peacemaker at an early age. I learned that everything wasn't just black and white. There was my dad's side of the story, my mom's side of the story, and the truth was somewhere in between there. I learned everyone has their own perspective. Being patient and careful has served me well in many situations. Going back to Plato, some people speak just to speak. They're just filling the empty air. And while others are filling that empty air, it gives me a chance to collect my thoughts and ensure my points are relevant and driving the conversation. Most importantly, I'm observing. I'm actively listening to what people are saying, but I'm also observing their body language as well. It helps me read the room and I can see who's impatient, concerned, or who's completely zoned out. Even better, I observe how other people are reacting to each other. Are the other key players listening to each other? Or do they seem dismissive? This has often helped me navigate the tricky world of company politics. While a calm, gentle hand is the most natural communication style for me, sometimes I need to break my way out of it. The communication style that trips me up the most is the direct style. It's not my druthers. It's a style of high stake corporate meetings. I prefer quality over quantity when speaking in meetings, but that's not how often the world perceives corporate leaders and how promotions are judged. It's about loud, confident voices and making quick decisions on the spot, which is all about direct communication. There's not usually time to mull things over and come back with a carefully crafted point of view, which would be my preference. When I'm in a meeting with a large group of people, especially those more senior than me, I really need to psych myself up to jump in the conversation. In my head, I'm gearing up and looking for an opening. I'm thinking to myself, okay, ready, set, speak. I don't want to miss my shot to get a word in, so I have to put on my direct communication hat, which feels more like an oversized race car helmet. One technique I've developed is to just technique I've developed to help me jump in is to throw a verbal speed bump, so to say, to help alert others that I have something that I would like to discuss. Phrases like one thought here, or on that note. I've been finding little tricks here and there, but then we got thrown into the world of virtual meetings. As a supportive communicator, we bid our time to speak. Therefore, since I'm not Chatty Cathy, even though my name is Catherine, I had to learn to keep my video on to signal to others that I was actively engaged in the meeting, even though I might not be saying a lot. Initially, this seemed like the short end of the work from home stick. Isn't the best part of working from home getting to keep your video off, stay in your pajamas, and not having to do your hair as often? Not if you're a supportive communicator, apparently. However, as the months went by, I realized virtual meetings worked in my favor. They enabled me to be a more confident direct communicator in those dreaded corporate meetings. The meeting field was rebalanced, physically so. We're now all in equally sized squares. I found I was less intimidated and I was quicker to voice my thoughts. Best of all, for the very first time in my life, people thought I was tall. That never happens to me. I'm 5'3". An executive was so surprised to meet me in person. He assumed I was tall because I presented myself so confidently on all the calls we've been having throughout the pandemic. Now, I always try to channel my tall person personality and confidence in my meetings, no matter if they're in person or not. Supportive communication is my comfort zone, my default from which I derive communication strengths in my personal and professional life. When I need to stretch myself to a direct style, what helps me the most is having tips and tricks and strategies up my sleeve to make it feel more comfortable. Furthermore, the expected world of virtual meetings assists me in discovering that I'm actually a stronger direct communicator than I give myself credit for. I've learned whether online or offline, and no matter the frequency, to speak confidently and to speak tall. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
That is amazing. Thank you very much. That was awesome. It certainly brought out a few pointers for myself, reminds me of what my own comfort zone is. I'd rather be in person than virtual. Virtually, I feel like I'm not making that much of a difference, but thank you very much for all those tips. And yes, when you are virtual, it does make you look taller. I have experienced that. I think that's amazing. For that alone, we should just stay virtual. All right. And now for our next speaker, Daria Markuch. I hope I'm saying your last name correctly. I don't like butchering people's name, but Daria will be presenting her icebreaker today. So for our guests today, once you become a member and you give your first speech, you get to speak on anything you'd like, and it's called an icebreaker. So please welcome Daria. She will be giving her icebreaker speech today. It's called Becoming a Lion Tamer. I'm going to read her introduction. New Year's, a move to a different city, school or job, or even a birthday. Actually, no, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, pardon me. Anyone can start fresh with a new idea, perspective, or attitude at any moment. Toastmasters and guests, please welcome Daria for our icebreaker.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster Felicity. Thank you all. Thank you all for your patience and kindness and support for my first speech. So the topic is the headline, the title is Becoming a Lion Tamer. As we have a new year, at any moment, we can start fresh and new with a new idea, perspective, or attitude. New Year's, moving to a new city, school, or job, and even birthdays give a rise to a new, fresh scratch at life for a moment. When I was 15, I was apprehensive about moving across the world. I moved from Los Angeles to the countryside and to go to boarding school in England. One of my girlfriends at the time told me not to worry and not to have any nervousness, because this is an amazing opportunity to start fresh and new somewhere where no one knows you, no one knows where you're from really, or anything about you. She told me I could go there and tell them anything, like I was a lion tamer, and they could believe it. Although I didn't run with that idea, one of the other girls did at boarding school, Adwa Asiedo. She was born in Ghana and lived in Nigeria. When she went to boarding school, she ran with the idea that everyone had of her living in the bush in Africa. And she told people, yes, of course I live in a stick house at home, and I wear loincloths, and yes, I have a pet elephant named Bubba. And although this is silly and funny, they ran with it, and most people understood that it was a joke. Some kids still really thought she had a pet elephant. So although prejudices and preconceived notions can be laughed off and silly, and sometimes they can be a little more dangerous and serious. When I lived in Jordan after grad school, I went to work on my Arabic and work with UNRWA, the United Nations Work and Relief Agency for Palestinian Refugees. There, I decided to be all kinds of lion tamers. It wasn't so comfortable being American all the time. One time I had a cab driver who was from Iraq, and he was telling me about how the Americans bombed his home, his business, and how he hadn't seen his family for almost a decade because he had to move to Amman, Jordan to work as a cab driver to send remnants back home to support his family. And it felt like it was a personal attack. I know it wasn't, and he was sharing his story, but it was hard to be American that day. So I tried being Ukrainian, since I'm also Ukrainian. That also didn't work out very well. The Arabs think Ukrainians, I guess over there, were more sex workers. So I didn't run with that very long either. I had to settle with being Dutch because I figured no one could test my Dutch language. I don't speak Dutch, and I figured no one else would speak Dutch there, but they speak English, so I could be Dutch. And that went fine. I didn't bring up any bad histories for anyone. I didn't have to have any uncomfortable conversations with taxi drivers. Circuses are all over. We all have our own circuses. whether it be starting new or going places. And here at the new Toastmasters, I've moved here to Miami and joining this new group. And we're our own circus too. And in this circus, I feel like we're a trapeze act, where everyone is supportive and taking a leap and going into center stage, but getting back up. And so we can all learn to take a different role and support each other and grow to bigger heights. So whether you're in a circus here in Toastmasters or in life, if you're surrounded by monkeys or elephants or clowns, or even being a lion tamer with a bunch of lions around you, know that we all have our own circuses. And you have the decision to make what role you want to play. And this Toastmasters will help us be whatever role you want to be. Thank you.
Nice job, Dara. That was awesome. Thank you so much. That was terrific.
Thank you.
All right. The next segment of our meeting is the funnest part. Whether you agree that's a word or not, it's the funnest part. It is the table topics. So I would like to introduce our table topics master, who is Mario Alejandro Litano. I love saying Alejandro. Take it away, Mario.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Actually, Mario, just before you share your screen, Felicity, could we ask Felix to give us a timers report for the two speakers so that we can do our voting?
Yes, it would be my pleasure. Catherine's speech came in at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And Daria's speech at 4 minutes and 28 seconds. I believe they both qualify.
Yes, they do. I'm going to launch the poll. That's how we're going to do our voting. You should see it now. Anybody can vote, whether you're a Toastmasters member or not. I'm about to give it just a few more seconds. Okay. Fantastic. Right, over to you, Mario.
Okay, can everybody see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, here we go. So the purpose of the topic master is to facilitate the table topics portion of the meeting, where we have to express our ideas and thoughts into this mini 1 to 2 minute speech that is no longer than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It is also an opportunity for other participants who are not on duty to participate in a speaking role. Guests are also encouraged to participate in this part of the meeting. So if you're a guest and you would like to be called on first, please put your hand up emoji and I'll be sure to get to you. Members will go first, of course. And also please remember to use the word of the day, druthers. And now on today's topic of the Toast a New Year, I will begin with the first question. Did you have a New Year's resolution? If so, what can you tell us about it? I will select Felix. You're muted, Felix.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I learned a long time ago to not have New Year's resolutions, mainly because they're very hard to keep. They say that in order to form a habit, I believe you have to do it for 21 days or 29 days. I can't remember exactly, but something along those lines. And I learned that it really is not easy to do unless you really are driven to do it. I am a member of a gym, which I go to on a regular basis. And I noticed that come January, COVID not counting since it hasn't been that busy, but I remember come January, there would be very little, there would be an increase of membership at the gym. And you could almost time it on your calendar that by 2 weeks, those new members had dropped off and it was just the regular main people that you saw there every day. So it takes a lot of commitment, and making the New Year's resolution, though I would encourage one to do so. If I had my druthers, I think you just commit to do what you think is right. And it doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. It could be at any time during the year, and possibly motivated by something else and not the fact that it's just the new year. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Felix. I think I definitely agree with you. I create all these resolutions for myself, and I try, but really what it creates is more stress and more anxiety and about the New Year's. It's very different, you know, even though the New Year's is very fun and exciting, I kind of I stress myself out about it, but great point. Okay, so next one. You're going to New Year's Eve party and you had to bring one thing to the party. You don't want to arrive empty-handed. What are you gonna bring to the party? And for this, I will select Mitchell.
Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it. Well, I think what first comes to mind is a bottle of alcohol. You know, a nice bottle of wine or scotch. I'm a scotch drinker, but there's probably already going to be plenty of alcohol there. So I would probably bring some fireworks, because who doesn't like fireworks on New Year's Eve? So I would drive down to Key West or to Key Largo and pick up some of the big ones, you know, the ones that go super high in the sky and explode with all the colors and stuff, because everyone's going to remember that, and hopefully they remember who brought it. And it's a good way to kick off the new year. It's a fun way of doing it. And I'm sure everyone else there will have plenty of alcohol, so the bottle of wine won't be needed.
I have to agree with you. I usually bring, I make it easy. I just bring a 12-pack, but fireworks is also a great idea. However, I did have recently a firework accident, and I had a 3rd-degree burn. So I don't know if I would do fireworks moving forward.
Oh man, sorry. Is that you pictured there next to the natural light?
No, that's not me. Okay, so next one. You are transported back 100 years to the Roaring 20s, and you find yourself at the illustrious and mysterious Overlook Hotel's New Year's Eve ball. How are you going to celebrate the new year that night? And for this one, I'm going to go with Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master. I had a feeling I was going to get this question. I feel like this is a Brian question. Taking it way back to the Roaring 20s, the Overlook Hotel, the Kubrick cinematic classic, the Stephen King novel, The Shining setting. Definitely watching this movie as a child, one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Just so eerie, ghosts walking around, twin girls staring at you eerily, the twin daughters. How would I spend my time there? Probably just hiding the entire time. Jack Nicholson breaking through doors. I'm not interested in that, okay? I'm gonna find Patti LaBelle. We're gonna hang out in the coat closet, not doing anything, you know, just hiding. just survive the night. Little Danny, we'll keep him safe, but mainly just keeping alive. Maybe one thing I always did like, that little maze outside, explore the maze, put a coat on, it's snowing out there. That maze looked pretty cool. That's about the only positive of the Overlook Hotel for me. Everything else, just trying to survive the night, stay alive, stay hidden, stay safe. Table Topics Master, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I think that's probably the smartest idea, to survive the night, but I think I would have a little bit of fun as well before I go into hiding. All right, next question. If you could party in New Year's with one famous person, an artist, a movie star, someone from the past, doesn't have to be someone that's still alive, who would it be and why? And for this one, I am going to choose Jasmine.
Thank you, Mario, for this question. If I were to select somebody from the past, I would definitely go to heaven and grab Michael Jackson. I want to say that he would be somebody that's pretty rad to party with, whether it's at Neverland with him or just, you know, behind the scenes while he's on tour. He would be an absolute gem to me, to be able to just see how his artistic mind works, and maybe even rocking a session out in the recording studio with him. If he and then even taking it a little farther back, if we're going back in time with him while he was still alive, I'll just hang out with the Jackson 5 and the others and get to know Janet, and maybe see if I could be a backup singer or something, you know, work my way into those connections. But 100%, if I had to go back, I would pull Michael Jackson from the past and bring him out and just really pick at his brain and see how he thinks. And you know, rumors and all the other gossip aside, I think it would be pretty rad to hang out with him at Neverland even, and get to know him as a person and as an artist. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, that's a great choice for a person to hang out with. I've always wondered what it would have been like to just spend some time with Michael Jackson and, you know, see what Neverland is like. You know, maybe I can talk him into buying me a zoo or a Lambo. Next question. In your life, what was your most memorable New Year's Eve experience? And for this one, I will go with Catherine.
Yes, I'm ready. So I saw this picture and I automatically thought of the most romantic New Year's Eve, which was right before COVID, when my boyfriend and I were in Argentina. It was very nice and like very adult and sophisticated, but that is not the most memorable one. The most memorable one was definitely when I was like 23 and we pre-gamed very hard before we left. We took an Uber down to downtown Cincinnati, and it could have been a sitcom. Like, we went in, there was 5 of us. We all like went into our own little mini adventure of struggling within this bar, of trying to find each other, getting into like awkward random scenarios, knocking things over. It was just a flat out disaster. And we stayed until the clock down went. Everyone's counting down, you know, down to the clock. We were so happy. It was finally midnight and we could get out of there. It seemed like we had been in there for 5 hours. We go to the bar, everyone's at the bar. We're trying to get the check. They don't want to give us the check because the bar is surrounded by people. And one of my friends falls over and takes out about 10 people with her. So then we got our check very quick after that. We make it out. We go to the Uber. We get in the Uber. It's the same guy that dropped us off. We thought we were there for like 4 hours. We were there for maybe 45 minutes. And that was our super quick. It was the quickest New Year's we ever had, but the most memorable.
Thank you, Catherine. You really brought that one alive. I think some of the best times that I've had or the best New Year's are the ones that I remember the least.
Exactly.
Okay. Next question. What is your favorite New Year's tradition? And for this one, I will select Daria.
New Year's tradition. Thank you, Mario. I don't have any New Year's traditions, unfortunately. I suppose having a drink. I don't think I've had a New Year's where I haven't had drinks. I would like to have a New Year's tradition of going to hockey games because that was my most memorable New Year's tradition. I'm a huge ice hockey fan. I love the LA Kings. And that was my most memorable one. So if I could, I would always go to an ice hockey game. And then if my team wins, then it's obviously going to be an amazing year. And even if they lose, it's okay too. But maybe it should be everyone's tradition to go do something like that. I know that there's a grape one, but I don't know what it is. And then I had another girlfriend who made me put $1 in my left shoe once during New Year's. I don't know what that was all about, but I don't think it changed the year at all. So that's okay. Yeah, whether they do something or not, they're fun to do. And mine would be always to go to a hockey game. Thank you, Toastmaster, Table Master.
Thank you, Daria. Yeah, that's a good point. Instead of having these cliche New Year's tradition, I think I would rather to have something like that, like going to a soccer game or maybe watching a specific movie, something different out of the usual. You are invited to a very exclusive New Year's Eve party, and you had to take one person to take as a guest. Who would this person be? Felicity.
You know, I was hoping you would ask me the prior question, but okay. I am invited to an exclusive New Year's Eve party. There is only one person that comes to mind if I am invited to an exclusive party, New Year's Eve party. Let me tell you, we've been invited to numerous exclusive New Year's Eve parties. And the one person, the only person on the face of the earth that I absolutely will not go without is my husband. And you guys knew that answer was coming, right? Because my husband is a nut job. You met him at the Christmas party and you heard him in the background sometimes. This man is hilarious. He can talk to anyone at any time, from babies to octogenarian or centurions. He loves people. And so if it's exclusive, I would be nervous about what to wear, who's going to be there, and all of those other things. He would already know what he's going to wear, and he doesn't care who's there. He's going to make friends with every single person in that party before we leave. And he will be invited. He would be the one that would get us invited to more exclusive New Year's Eve parties. Isn't that right, honey?
Yes.
See, I told you. There's no other choice. It's just him. He's a fun guy. He's my backbone. He's my boo. He's my everything. But he's my partner. You know, he's my GFG. He's my gift from God. And although we don't go to parties anymore, that was in the past, it would be him. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Felicity. I knew that you were gonna say your husband. He is a very fun person to be around with, and I definitely take him to any party at any point in time. I wonder if he's wearing his hat right now. I just have a mental picture of him.
You don't want to see what he's wearing right now, honestly.
Okay, are there any guests that would like to volunteer? Oh, I saw him.
Y'all know this man is into everything, right?
I like the hat, the cap. Okay, I'm gonna call on a guest for this one. If you had a time machine and you could go back in time to any New Year's party, what year would it be, and where would it be, or how would it be? And I'm gonna choose Flores for this one.
Thank you, Mario. All right, yeah, I'm not at all a big New Year's party guy, so I think I would go back to 2016, 31st of December 2016. I just came back from a wedding from a friend of mine in Nicaragua, and I arrived back in the Netherlands on the 31st of December at the beginning of the night. And we have this tradition in the Netherlands that on Christmas Eve, the top 2000 of the best songs that have been voted for by the Dutch population will start on the radio. And it's kind of a tradition from the other question that you asked. I would always sit around the radio with friends and their parents, and we would like make it a game. When the song would start, we would guess which song it was, and the first one got a shot, got a drink, whatever it was. And it was always a good fun and good memories about it. And what made it special is that back in 2016, I just came out of a different world, which was Nicaragua. And then I came back to the Netherlands. My friends were there and we had a fun night, and I could easily land and go back into my comfort zone and enjoy something that I've always really enjoyed doing. And I guess that would be it. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you, Flores. Yeah, so that's, I don't know a lot of Dutch culture, but that sounds like an interesting one. And I'm gonna ask one more question because I think we're kind of short on time. So let me share my screen again. Okay, because anybody see it?
Yes,
Yep, okay. You're at a classy cruise spending New Year's out at sea, and all of a sudden this enormous tsunami wave impacts the cruise ship and it capsizes. And all of a sudden you find yourself in this terrible survival situation. How are you gonna live through this ordeal? And for this one, I'm gonna choose our distinguished guest, Gina White.
Thank you, Mario. It's interesting you share this question because they've been talking about the Concordian, the ship that wrecked off of the coast. But to answer your question, how would I handle the situation? Gosh, New Year's Eve first, hopefully I am sober. And also, as Felicity mentioned, I hope my husband is with me because he has this knack of being able to talk his way into anything. So therefore, one, I'm sober and I have my husband, and our goal is to get in a lifeboat. Now, looking at the situation, it is my hope that, you know, we aren't as aggressive as some of the people stated in the Concordian. I heard this one lady say where this huge guy jumped over her in order to get in the lifeboat. But if I'm going to survive this situation, one, I'm sober, and I'll have my husband who will be able to talk us into a position on the lifeboat. That's mine.
All right, thank you, Gina. That was a very hard question, and that was a very masterful response. I think you will both survive. I hope. And that concludes the table topics portion of the meeting. And now I'm gonna bring it back to our Toastmaster, Felicity.
I hope you guys can hear me, but because it looks like my screen is frozen. And now we will introduce our general evaluator, who is Brian DeSimone. Brian?
Felicity, thank you so much. Before I move on and I introduce the evaluators tonight, can we quickly get a timers report for our table topic responses?
Absolutely, it would be my pleasure. I timed myself at 1:46, Mitchell at 56 seconds, Brian at 1:21, Jasmine at 1:10, Catherine at 1:27, Daria at 1:14, Felicity at 1:50, Floris at 1:40, and Gina at 1:35.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Timer. I think based on your report, the only person that didn't qualify was Mitchell, as he fell under the 1 minute mark. But Mitchell, you got it next time, absolutely. I'm going to launch the poll, and just so our guest Floris knows, at Coral Gables Toastmasters, guests can certainly participate in table topics, but they cannot be voted on as the best table topic speaker. But Floris, you are eligible to vote for whoever you would like. Gina, as you are a Toastmaster from, of course, another club, you are eligible to be voted on as a best table topic speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll here. Vote for your bet, who you believe gave the best response. I'll just give it about a few more seconds. One final vote remaining. Okay. Poll is closed. Thank you everyone for participating in the ballot. And back over to you, Brian.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Tonight, I am serving as the meeting's general evaluator. Essentially, what I'll be doing is evaluating the meeting. Before we get to that, we have evaluations, the third and final act of our Toastmasters meeting tonight. Up first, honestly, one of my favorite evaluators. She's missed a couple meetings. She's been off traveling. At least I think she has, but that's the word I got. But she's back tonight. Dr. Jasmine Sandoval, evaluating Catherine and her speech. Ready, set, speak. Jasmine, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Unfortunately, I was not traveling, but we will believe that. So Catherine, I am so excited to be able to evaluate your speech for your starting speech for 2022. I feel like in the past, I've had the pleasure of evaluating a couple of your other speeches. Boy, have you grown. So going forth with Ready, Set, Speak, you started your introduction with some wisdom from Plato's Rule. And going into your speech, we got a little bit of light humor from you, which is always pleasant when we are sitting in a, boring Zoom meeting, so to speak. In many different types of environment, we may feel that way. You brought some light humor. You explained what supportive communication was and what type of style you had. And then you also said you avoided it like the coronavirus. No, we are no longer living in the terms of saying we're avoiding things like the bubonic plague, but you gave a twist to it. You gave it your own spin, and that really reeled in the listener. You also gave us a little bit of insight on what your childhood was like growing up, which really helped us to understand why your communication style may be the way that it is. A lot of times our nurture and nature environment growing up really makes us who we are today. Understanding that you're an only child with no natural predators, understanding that you were a child with parents who have divorced, and knowing that you were the peacemaker and there was always his, hers, and the truth. We understood and learned so much about you and just receiving that little bit of insight from your childhood. What I really enjoyed was your vocal variety. As always, you have always been very clear in your speech style. We understood you, we heard you. There were no concerns in terms of hearing you audibly from a Zoom perspective. I would love to hear you live in a platform where we can sit in the same room once again, because I feel like you are a phenomenal speaker, and being able to perform the way that you do and speak the way that you do on Zoom is fantastic. Your visual placement, again, on the screen, very visually balanced, as you had mentioned on one of your parts of the speech. Being visually balanced and seeing that you are perfectly centered in your screen is great. Sometimes we see a little bit too much head, sometimes not enough. Not in your case here, it was perfect. You use spontaneity with adding in the word of the day and using druthers in a way that made sense and flowed without us even realizing that it was never in the speech at all. Your relevance was on par. We are in Toastmasters Forum. We are looking at communication style and we are speaking about virtual settings, and you touch on every single one of those points, helping us all write notes and take notes as well. Visual imagery was phenomenal. You gave us a very visual image of an oversized race car helmet that all of us could feel and see and actually feel the weight on us as well through that visual imagery. So congratulations for bringing that forth as well. Very creative. The only little bit of advice I would give you is the twisting in the chair. So we all have a tendency to do this. And if you find yourself doing this over and over, maybe try finding a very still platform without the twisting in the chair. But overall, you wrapped it up very well. You showed us self-awareness. You spoke about your direct, confident, and speaking style, speaking tall and having a very tall personality, which brought us back to Ready, Set, Speak and your presentation mastery. Congratulations on a fantastic speech.
Jasmine, as always, a masterclass in evaluating. Thank you so much. And I apologize for I said you were traveling, you weren't. I think I wanted you to be traveling. I wanted to live through you. So I apologize for giving you a false reality there. Moving along, we have Lucas Calafell evaluating Daria with her speech, Becoming a Lion Tamer. Lucas, please, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, and a special thank you to Daria for making that effort of doing your icebreaker. It's such an important speech in every Toastmasters journey, and every Toastmaster, no matter where you meet them, in what club, in what country, in what state, it doesn't matter. They have all done an icebreaker at some point. Some of them have done multiple icebreakers. And this is your first one, and I want to say congratulations on completing that. Now let's jump into what the content of your speech and how you delivered it. What I got from your speech and what is required in the icebreaker is that you are required to, as far as the project, to give us a better idea of who you are, your background, just something that we didn't know about you beforehand. And I think you did an excellent job of that. I think your story is really, what I thought about it, is a story about invention and reinvention. How we can end up in different circuses and decide which role we are going to play. Maybe in one circus, we played this role, we learned from our mistakes, we learned from other opportunities, and we find ourselves in another circus, being a lion tamer or something else, and taking advantage of that and reinventing ourselves, deciding how we want to grow in whatever circumstances life throws at us. So what I liked about your speech is that you put a personal touch to it, because you talked about how you moved, and that short story that I remember your friend saying, hey, you can tell them whatever you want about yourself because they don't know who you are. And I think that is very refreshing for everyone, very relevant, that we can, in a sense, invent ourselves, that we could show up and we can present ourselves in a different way. If we want to improve in a certain way, we can focus on that so that we can be who we want to be. I think that's fantastic. So very relevant. what I took away and what I liked about your speech as well is that not only did you give the personal aspect of it, but you also gave us, in a sense, maybe a call to action or a lessons learned that we can adjust, we can be flexible, we can reinvent ourselves. And I thought that was very fantastic for you to share. A couple of notes on how you can elevate your speech and your future speeches. A couple of things. I think the lighting was a little bit dark. This is a very technical. Lighting could be a little bit brighter. I think the background, if it was a little bit more plain, I don't think the board or anything in the background would distract. Not that it was too distracting, but you also want to make sure that you're in control of everything that is behind you and that you're presenting your background as best as possible. And the last thing is vocal variety, the pitch and the tone of your voice. I felt that there could have been some points where you could have been more expressive in the way that you were talking about a story or talking about being a lion tamer, maybe even gesturing when it comes to being a lion tamer, like if you were fighting off a lion or something like that. But those are just some things that you may consider implementing in your next speech. But overall, I think it was a fantastic speech and a great start to your Toastmasters journey. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Excellent job, Lucas. As always, this is going to be a tough vote for best evaluator because the top two evaluators going at it head to head tonight. Thank you so much. Let's get a quick timers report for our evaluations tonight. Felix, please.
Thank you, sir. We have Jasmine at 3 minutes and 12 seconds and Lucas at 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay, fantastic. I'm gonna launch the poll since we both qualify. We were close, Jasmine. We were close to the end, but we made it happen. So let me go ahead and show that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. General.
Thank you, Lucas. So yeah, let's continue. Excuse me. Let's continue with our functionary reports. Let's move to our grammarian of the evening. Jasmine, please, your grammarian report for tonight.
Thank you, General Evaluator. My grammarian report for tonight is Catherine with 1, Felicity with 1, Mario with 2, but one of them was more like a reminder, but we'll go for it. And then Felix with 1. And if I did miss anybody else, I do apologize. Some of the speech, I didn't have a chance to really write down a whole lot of what I heard, but I still wanted to bring it back to the evaluation piece that I gave for Catherine. And I really felt like her taking avoid conflict like the coronavirus was very clever. I feel like that's something we can all use more of, that wit that she had behind that, and changing something that is a classic phrase that we've said for so many years with bubonic plague. She's totally switched it up and made it relevant. So I really appreciate that. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Jasmine. Great job as always. I will call on myself to deliver the counter report. We'll start off with our table topics master this evening, Mario. He had 6 ahs, 1 ums, 1 1 so, 2 buts, 3 repeats, and 4 ands. Lucas accounted 1 repeat. Felicity, I have 1 and 1 repeat. Felix, 1 so, 1 repeat. Catherine, just 2 repeats in your speech. Mitchell, 4 ahs, 1 1 so, and 1 you know. Gina, I counted 1 ah and 5 ums. Floris, great job tonight on your table topics response. I counted 3 ahs, 3 ums, and 2 ands. Daria, 4 ahs, 2 repeats, and 1 and. And myself, I think I was doing pretty good up until the very last couple sentences I was speaking. I counted 1 ah, 2 repeats, and I'm sure I sprinkled in a couple there at the end. But that's just what I do. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. I will now give my evaluation of the meeting, starting at 7:05 tonight. Pretty good start time. I think we let the guests in right when we had everything ready to go. So I don't see a problem there. Usually we start at 7 officially, but I think 7:05 is a decent buffer period to make sure that we have everything set for a good meeting. Let me just say tonight, our Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster of the evening, Felicity. For those who don't know, this is her second time participating as Toastmaster. Her first time was just before our December hiatus. So relatively brand new to the Toastmaster position. And I think you did a masterful job, Felicity. Some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best, just leading the meeting and weaving the theme of the meeting throughout the entire time that we have here. Really good job. I loved how you gave the instructions on how to give a toast. Stand up, get the attention of the room, propose your toast. Just kind of giving that guideline checklist is something that I think really grabbed everyone's attention. And then the fact you also gave a kind of a mini toast for each functionary and speaker when they came up, letting everyone know kind of what they were about to do. It served as a little toast there. I thought you did a great job with that. Lucas, tonight, using the polls for voting, going really smooth. I love that idea with our virtual meetings. It really makes sure everyone votes efficiently and not missing out on votes. So I think that works out well with our virtual meetings. One thing I do want to point out tonight, very slight, but there was, with a couple of speakers, we had some background noises, not too bad, but just something that it's an opportunity for future meetings or just to make our meetings that much better, to, if we can, try and shore up those background noises. But I did love our cameo tonight from Felicity's husband. Excellent to see him, excellent to hear him in the background. Always a pleasure. So thank you so much. I will now pass the floor back to our Toastmaster of the evening, Felicity, with your closing remarks. Thank you.
Yes, Jasmine, that is correct. Honorary Toastmaster member. I have asked my husband if he wanted to join Toastmasters, but I think what will end up happening is he will take over everything. Guys, in closing, I have got to say, well done, everyone. A toast to you in 2022. We did a fantastic job this evening. I was not sure how this was going to go over, but everyone came out, performed well, did an amazing job, from our functionaries, from our executive team, taking on extra roles. Jazz, it's always great to see you. Our guests, we are excited to have you here. As you can see, there is so much you can take away from Toastmasters. We welcome your questions after our meeting. And listen, Lucas, you set the tone for how we should be in Toastmasters. Brian, I can't leave you out because you are just as amazing. And everyone else, we are just looking forward to a fantastic year. Here's to everyone, to you all. Thank you. Back to you, Brian, to bring us to the end as our VPE, and then we'll have our closeout comments. And I do have one guest who would like to join, so we can get to that. I know it's time is kind of of the essence right now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Felicity, for throwing it back to me. Our next meeting will be on January 26th. As Lucas mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, it will be our International Speech and Table Topics Contest. So it's going to run a little different than this current meeting. It's strictly just whoever is signed up to participate is who will speak. But good opportunity for people who want to learn more about contests to come in and watch us. As Lucas said, it's either 6 speeches or having completed level 2 in your pathway to give you for you to be able to participate in the contest. And as for table topics, anybody, as long as you're a member, you can sign up and participate in that. As of right now, it just off the top, does anyone want to participate as a table topics contestant? Do I have any contestants? Anyone wish to sign up right now?
Sure, I'll take a stab at it, Brian.
I hear Felicity. I think I saw Daria's hand go up as well.
Yeah, I'll try it out.
So I got Felicity, Jasmine, and Daria. Anyone else that I may have missed? Okay, I think that does it. We will call for the meeting following that in the next month in our second week of February, which will go back to the normal meeting setting and we will set that up. I will now pass the floor back to Lucas for the president's final words.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And a couple of items of recognition is I definitely want to recognize Daria for signing up on Pathways and getting that set, giving an icebreaker. I just want to give a round of applause to her and getting a great start to the Toastmasters journey. And we look forward to your upcoming speeches. Thank you very much for that. As far as any new club business, from the executive side of things, the executive committee, we do have a second round of training, which is going to happen sometime. There are different dates in January, but it's something that we're all going to do to support our club and to earn our club a distinguished club point so that we can essentially get more points in the distinguished club program, which shows the success of our club in a more of an objective way. We all benefit from Toastmasters, but this is just one way of showing Toastmasters International, the larger organization, that we are succeeding as a club. So we will do that. And the other thing is that when it comes to distinguished club points, doesn't fall on the executive committee entirely to support the club. Every single member can do their part to support the club. What is the easiest way to do that? Sign up on Pathways, give your speeches, complete your levels, and that will support the club and our success. So if you have any questions about Pathways, navigating that, do let me know, and I'd be more than happy to answer them, meet with you over Zoom, whatever is needed to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident using this platform. Now, I would like to hear from our guests that joined us and that stayed with us for the entire meeting. Once again, I want to thank you for your attendance. I see Art here. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's just do this. Mario, can you just end the recording? I'll just adjourn the meeting so that we can end on